problem, this cybersecurity problem. I think one of the things that affects it more is the culture, our culture. We are more trusting, very trusting. I mean, things that we hear around, I mean, things that we hear from friends around about what is happening in maybe organizations, maybe critical organizations, in terms of involving even foreign nationals to address cybersecurity issues of critical infrastructure. It's really painful. What we need to do, like I'm saying, let's right now the cybersecurity strategy. I read it. No budget. No budget. You look at the budget speech. Was it? It was early this year. No budget for cybersecurity. Yet we spoke about giving kids from standard 5 to form 5 tablets and so on. So I think we need, it's on us to intensify that campaign, to let the government know that we have issues, right? You take, for example, the nations, how are nations fighting? You look at USA and China, Russia, they are fighting virtual fights, right? So it's upon us to I think it's us. I don't know. I mean, mostly when you look at institutions abused, you look at UB and various, most of the cybersecurity professionals, yes, they are still young, and you go to those organizations, you find that very few cybersecurity professionals. I think we need to intensify the spreading the message, cybersecurity campaigns, you know. Yeah, so that's the only way we can get there. And then the technology we'll get to the technology later, but as long as people know, they will start to ask, how can I protect myself? You know, I don't know if are you satisfied, Dr. Makuru?
No, that's a very good answer, and I'm hoping we can talk more about it outside the forums and figure out a way forward.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to talk about, to be honest. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, Benson, your hand is up. Please go right ahead.
Okay, no, thank you so much, Agang. I just wanted to talk to ask Dr. Tabona about he mentioned in his industrial cluster, cybersecurity cluster, he mentioned a few stakeholders, but I didn't really see a mention of civil society or NGOs. So I've also read the national cybersecurity strategy. There is a mention of civil society, but I think I don't know if I'm wrong, but I think it's a humble mention. They're just mentioning civil society as one of those critical stakeholders. But I believe that civil society plays a critical role in ensuring that once the strategy is enacted, there is protection of civil liberties, human rights, and even privacy as well. So I wanted to ask the doctor, what does he think about the inclusion of civil society, both in the cybersecurity cluster and in the national cybersecurity strategy?
All right. Thank you very much, Ben. Yeah. On the cybersecurity cluster, I have to admit that I'm not an expert on cluster formations, but definitely there's somewhere where the community plays a part. I don't know if it plays a part on the government side or the industry part, but it does play a part because at the end of the day, you can't have all those measures to address cybersecurity issues without the community in place. But I mean, the reason why we contacted Cyber Island is for them to, because they have a cybersecurity cluster. It's doing very well. They have jobs, like loads of jobs in cybersecurity. They are very sustainable. When they started, they got money from the government, and right now they are very sustainable. So I wouldn't try to claim to be an expert. I've had a presentation by them, but we are looking forward to another presentation with them. So I don't know. I mean, after their presentation, then we are going to invite industry and academia, like UB and other organizations. I mean, all organizations that are interested in joining, and then it will become more clearer. But I don't know that I do know that they play a part, but on each side, I don't know. Going to the national cybersecurity strategy, there is where there's issues. I mean, there's parts where they talk about the awareness campaigns and so on. I think that's where they will maybe educate the nation about the issues of cybersecurity. Also, I mean, it's a good start, this national cybersecurity strategy, but obviously there are issues to it. I mean, I can't talk about them at the moment, but people have views about it. I mean, okay, let me stop here. Let me stop here. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tawana. I'm going to, if you want to, please raise your hand. I'm going to go to the chat right now. Angela wrote something. In terms of legislative instruments, what influence can we have, or what role can we play in pushing respective regulatory bodies to draw up governing instruments towards regulating cryptocurrencies? So this one I'll just quickly go to and say, you know what, cryptocurrencies are here. You know, is it Bitcoin? Is it Earth? Is it Dogecoin? Name it. It is coming, and eventually, what I can tell you for sure, because I attended one of the IMF and World Bank meetings last year. The government are talking about it. Central banks are talking about it. But it would be nice to know where we are, Botswana. So, any other person? Some of these are just comments on the chat. I'm going to take two hands. Two questions, anybody, before we move to the next session? Okay, Jonathan, I see you. Please go right ahead.
Hi, Doc. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I want to know how because you know that in cybersecurity, usually I would say the weakest link is us, the end users. So how do we? Because in corporations, you find that there is that disparity between HR and cyber and security in the different organizations, in the sense that we usually have policies that that are related to cybersecurity. But from my end, I believe there has to be that aspect of, okay, we talked about security awareness, basically the training that has to be there, but also there has to be a form of punitive measures in terms of if people don't basically follow the cybersecurity best practices. Basically, the HR has to take certain steps to punish them, to ensure that, especially for repeating offenders, to ensure that they don't basically expose the various corporations that we work in. What's your take on that, and how do we actually ensure that we involve the various departments when we're basically looking into security?
All right, thank you very much, Jonathan. Yeah, I mean, when Benson was talking earlier, I forgot to ask which organization and stuff. Maybe because Jonathan, you're still there. Do you mind also to just say I'm from this organization also, if that's okay?
No.
Okay. Okay, no. I'll go straight to your answer. I mean, to your question. Normally there is what we call cybersecurity frameworks. So normally you have, as an organization, you need to have the cybersecurity framework that you use. I mean, with the cybersecurity framework, it's an organized manner. I mean, approach to cybersecurity. You don't just start buying stuff without knowing how or what you are addressing and how your organization is going to grow, right? So normally those things concerning HR and so on, they might be addressed by policies. And then when you have a cybersecurity framework, that's your reference point. The cybersecurity framework will tell you that you need 1, 2, 3. I mean, coming to HR, you might touch on HR. You find that, for example, you might have like suppliers coming to your organization. You'll also have those policies to guide those. So yeah, basically your reference points is the cybersecurity framework, and the cybersecurity frameworks that are available, the NIST, the ISO cybersecurity frameworks. They have something that touches on cybersecurity. But if somebody is maybe hacking into your systems internally, I mean, some of these I mean, it's illegal or so, and then you have the law of the country to address that. I don't know if you are happy with my answer, Jonathan.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's fine. Thanks.
Are you happy?
Thank you, John.
I was more okay. I was more into. Okay, I understand the aspect of having to have frameworks and everything, but I don't know. You know that there's usually I don't know whether I would say a challenge or whether you basically you still have these frameworks in place, but it looks like there isn't much buy-in from the various departments. I don't know when you have an organization, you would have HR, you have what is it? The procurement, you would have various departments, but still you have that framework, but there isn't that really buy-in from these other departments. So that's where my pain point is, that how would you basically approach this to try to what is it?
Thank you so much,
that
Jonathan, thank you so much. I think what you are saying is basically what Tata is saying on the chat, that I'll just read this out. From my observation, organizations mistakenly overlook the IT administrators who seem to be dangerous silent perpetrators. Maybe you like saying that. But Rueben is here. So we have 15 minutes left on our program. So we'll come back and round up. Rueben, are you here? Or because I've just been chatting to him. Rueben, I would have really loved Rueben because he's a young, enthusiastic, passionate young person who would have really brought this thing together and complemented our entire talk. But moving on, Rueben, one last check. Okay, that makes me so sad because I really enjoy Ruben's perspectives. Anyways, we had one last hand, Tabi, so please be brief and straight to the point so that we can wrap this thing up. Thank you.
Thank you, Agang. I just really wanted to comment on Jonathan's point. I wanted to ask Jonathan that what has he done as the technical person himself to make, before he can even think of punitive measures. Unfortunately, it takes time to educate people. And education is the proper way and the best way of doing things. We have to move fast because of the inherent problems, but you cannot overlook education. Jonathan, before you even think of taking punitive measures, have you at least run seminars bi-weekly, bi-monthly, to educate those people about the consequences and the dangers of them not being compliant? And again, to echo the sentiments of one of my colleagues, Dr. Marvin Kopo, on the chat there, that we've been saying this a lot, that the people are the weakest link. And yes, we are at a point that we accept that people are the weakest link, but it's now our responsibility as technical people, as developers, that we make sure that we plug those gaps. And one of the plugging the gaps, like Dr. Tabona was saying, is education. Unfortunately, education takes time. Thank you.
Yes. Should I answer or? Hello?
I think it was more of a
I was just commenting. I was just commenting.
Okay, okay.
It was more of a comment than anything. So thank you, Jonathan. So we're going to move forward right now. And in moving forward, after all this talk, after talking, then what? What is next? We need to be able to track our progress. We can't be having these conversations with, right now on the call, we have people from Bitri, we have people from Bokra, we have people from Bofinet, University of Botswana, Youth, Limkokwing. So what is next? So at this moment, I'm going to introduce Dr. Makura. Dr. Makura is from the Computer Society of Botswana, and he's also with the University of Botswana Computer Science Department. Dr. Makura, in just your call to action, what should be our next steps? I mean, we have these webinars, these talks, these seminars planned for the future. But what are we supposed to do now as individuals in moving forward? Thank you.
Thank you, Agang. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. I know you could all be somewhere doing something much more interesting, but this is really for me to just kind of give you an idea of, okay, what else can we do? How do we move forward? Now, we at the Computer Society of Botswana, we've decided that the best way to move forward with these things is to organize. So far, what Dr. Tabona mentioned was, he mentioned critical pieces of legislature that have been put forward by our government. Now, the question then gets to be, okay, with these kind of legislations that we have, how much was it the input from the relevant stakeholders like us, or was it only certain parts of our communities that were involved in these processes? Now, we believe that organizations such as ISOC, such as CSB, such as the cybersecurity parts of the community are critical in that. And the only way to do it is for us to come together and make sure that these societies have a voice that when we talk, people can actually listen. Just to kind of give you an example, I'm not going to go into details about the issue, but a few weeks ago, we noted a really incredibly serious security loophole in one of the critical service providers in our country. And the problem is, I remember watching the chat on WhatsApp of a very good lawyer asking, okay, how do we proceed? For us to proceed with issuing letters to say, okay, this person says there's a security hole, please plug it before somebody takes advantage of it. The problem then was, okay, who's going to step forward, right? This is where organizations such as ISOC and CSB can come in, because as an organization like this, we've got a much bigger voice. So we really need to organize around this. And my task here is to just kind of say, listen, guys, let's come together. We've got these organizations. Let's make them powerful enough that when they go before any organization that isn't taking things like cybersecurity seriously and saying, listen, we've got a problem, solve it, they can be listened to. Because right now, I don't think that a lot of us would feel like we've got a power to make anyone take that, take cybersecurity seriously. So right now we are coming here and saying, listen, join in, let's make this bigger than it is. CSB was formed from UB, but we really don't want to be the custodians for it, because we envision it as a national organization that's going to bridge the gaps across all the essential stakeholders. So in order for us to move forward, we need to come together. So if you need more information, you can contact us. I think there will be more information later. That we've got a Facebook page where you can go to and post questions and talk to us there. We are currently working on putting up the website so that it's easier for you guys to get in touch with us. But really, we need a huge membership base so that when we talk, when we go to people and say we are from the Computer Society of Botswana, we are from the Internet Society Botswana chapter, people really understand who we are enough for us to even have impact when it comes to national legislation for cybersecurity, for pretty much all the internet and information technology side of things, right? So it's really critical. And with the way COVID has forced everybody to go online and do things online, as we've said, cybersecurity is often the last thing anybody's thinking about. We really need to move these things forward so that we can make sure that everybody's on board, everybody's safe before organizations such as Hackers Anonymous decide to pay us attention. And as we all know, we are way too open. So please get in touch with us. Let's make sure that we can have a real voice out there so that everybody else can hear and know that we exist and pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Makura. Those are really words to live by. We are definitely stronger together. And if you want to be part of this movement, it's very, very easy. Go to internetsociety.org. We have a list of people who might be interested in joining this. So we'll be sharing with you information on how to join the Computer Society of Botswana as well. So these are exciting times, and it calls upon each and every single one of us to rise up to the occasion. I don't know if I don't see you, but are you there? Because I'd like to call upon you now to give thank yous and Keolebogile, are you there? Okay, awesome. Okay, so Keolebogile Rantsetse is an internet enthusiast. She loves the internet and believes that the internet is for everybody. Keolebogile is an ICT lecturer at the Limkokwing University here in Gaborone, Botswana. She's an ISOC member and ICANN member as well, and an Afrinic Fellowship alumni. So Keolebogile, please go right ahead and give my label and closing remarks before we close. The closing before the closing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Agang. Wow. What a very informative and fruitful webinar we had. I just hope that we'll all be walking out of here feeling very empowered to keep the cyberspace secure for everyone without any fear of attacks or surveillance. So let me take this time to appreciate and thank our guest speaker, Dr. Otenta Bona, for his valuable contribution on this cybersecurity webinar. He shed a lot of light on threats and vulnerabilities that we face daily. And the good news is there's legislation, there are various measures that can be put into place. And we also like to thank you for the initiatives that you came up with together with your employer, of course, in combating cybercrime in Botswana. My deepest gratitude also goes to all the attendees who helped to make the webinar a successful event. I've had all your excellent presentation, your active discussion, and I want to conclude that the purpose of the webinar is achieved, and we hope to see the implementation of relevant cybersecurity legislation and frameworks successfully executed. It won't be right if I do not extend my congratulations to ISOC, Botswana chapter, and CSB team for hosting a very successful event which brought together a range of stakeholders for discussion on this global key issue. Thank you very much, ISOC. Thank you, CB. Let us continue to be vigilant, individual, business, governments, and ensure that our systems evolve to meet the ever-changing threats. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Keolebogile. And I just wanted to say, if you can look around on the call, that at some point we had 55, 56 people in attendance. You know, they could have been anywhere. And I'd just like to mention that, you know, Keolebogile is from Limkokwing, Dr. Tawana is from Buse. We have BAC on the call. We have the University of Botswana. So you can see that's a very good start. So the momentum surely, definitely must be kept. We also have colleagues on the call from Senegal. We have across continent. So please, if you could just maybe wave with the icons so that we recognize you down here by the reactions. ISOC is a very tightly knit family from across the world, and this is what we do best: get together, spark conversations, and ultimately come up with solutions to our different communities, you know, relevant solutions at that. I'm going to do this for the last time. Please, Elias, are you there? Elias is one of my favorite people, and I really want him to speak because he's a student. And I just imagine myself being a student and being able to speak in such a panel. So it brings so much meaning. So one last call. Elias, are you there? There's also Dr. Kopo from Bristol University in the UK. This is so exciting. Oh, we're a global family. Okay, Elias is not here. So with that, I would like to read my... You are there? Wow, okay. Elias, can I just give you not the entire presentation, but just 3 minutes to speak to this with your eye from the perspective from being a student and what it means to be part of this conversation? Because sometimes it's as if we know everything. The Eliases of this world are the ones who can really, really help us design and implement. Go right ahead, Elias.
Good evening to everybody. My apologies for coming late. So I have activities to attend to, but that's what under the bridge. So currently I'm a student at the University of Botswana. So I have deep passion about cybersecurity, but started in 2016 and started researching and learning more about the cybersecurity situation in Botswana. The problem at that time, we didn't have frameworks that we had to explore. So we depended on all the documents that dated back in 2007 and 2012. But those documents were not much fruitful to us. And as we go on, in 2018, I think the government launched the cybersecurity strategy. That's the one that I'm currently following and implementing at the moment. And one thing again is that we started a society within the UB community that is called Cybersecurity Hub, that is aimed at raising awareness in the University of Botswana. And again, we have raised such concern to the Buse community level that are willing to participate in that initiative of raising awareness around students in Botswana. And we also engaged both university, and they are also on board on the initiative. So I think that's my brief and what I do at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elias. Thank you, thank you. We are so proud of the work that you are all doing, and we are willing and waiting to help in whatever way that we can to drive this mandate and empower you, to contribute. On the chat, the conversation is still going on, and it just shows us that the next steps need to be, we need to have Gokra on board. We need to have representation from government. So look out for invitations that will come up next, for this conversation that we'll continue to be having. And we are just not having this conversation. We want to accelerate the implementation. We want these policies and all of them to be implemented. And we are ready to assist in always that we can. Keolebogile has said it all, but it's when I began, I said, Gokra is in the building. Thank you so much. When I began this, I said, this brings out the very best of Ubuntu. Ubuntu, I am because you are. So in Ubuntu 2.0, we've gathered here for this fire chat, and we hope to go on and be better. So thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for joining us. Good evening, everyone.